All right, started popping this transmission apart over here. This one's supposed to have first and second straight cut KW shaft in it. They had stuff sealed up, pretty yucky. You can see there's like oil, dirt, grease all over this thing. So the plan is basically take this thing apart, look at it. You know, just the way the seal, you know, too much sealer was put here. I've done a couple of them, so all right, battery conked out on us. So anyway, clean this thing up, seal it up. From putting a couple of these together, I know you really don't need this much. It's messy, and this is the anaerobic sealer, so it won't hurt anything inside the transmission. Basically, pulling it apart, cleaning the case, looking everything over, and yeah, just making sure everything's right, everything looks good. Take a look at everything so it's good and presentable when we go and put it back in. It's actually showing that this was a March 29 of 04. I see an 03 here on this fork. That doesn't matter, nothing's any different with that. So just I'm gonna get out some paper towels, wipe up some of this red stuff. We'll throw some of this stuff into the cleaner. I already did this part, came out pretty nice. I got to get the bolts together for that. Here's our shift selector that was on top. I already got that nice and cleaned up. So yeah, just kind of picking at this. I'm gonna pull the differential out, get it sitting here on the floor, clean everything off on this case. The plan is to paint this thing black and bolt it to the motor when we put it back down in the orange car. So we at least have a transmission that's going to hold up to a little bit of the power that that thing's going to make. And we're not going to be having to drop these stock trans out. And I'd really like to get a Liberty kit, but missed their last go around. And hopefully maybe when they decide they want to make some more, we'll try to pick up a set. So this is what we got for now. Let's see what it looks like with this here. But come on, you can do it. There we go. All right, there we go. We have the tranny apart. Still got to pull the diff out. Doesn't look bad in the case. KW shaft, straight cut first and second. I couldn't tell before I pulled it apart. It looked like the third gear fork might have been replaced at one time. Just lift this off here. Not too bad, honestly. It's the reverse gear. Set that off to the side. Just checking this thing out. Okay, I was gonna say whoever put it together, they either did a really good job getting the nut on and off, or they actually used a replacement nut right there. Yeah, All right, so I'm gonna pull the diff out of this case yet here. Basically, I gotta unbolt the little snubber that's on the very bottom, and then just unbolt everything. I'm just gonna set the bolts down. I might even grab another another diff case cover just to stick the bolts in. It makes it a little easier when I go to reassemble this. And we'll get this case cleaned up and ready to put some paint on. I mean, there's not really much to see in this here, other than it pretty much has an aftermarket shaft in. Some of this stuff does look actually, I mean, it looks pretty good, pretty clean. There was nothing in there. We'll see when we pop this off, because there's a magnet down in there if it actually grabbed anything. But pretty much everything is really clean. You would have thought somebody going through the problems of putting this in, that they would have took the time to clean the case. You could tell the sealer was not that old either. So let's get this thing cleaned up, put together. Let's pull this differential out. I mean, it's an 04 trans, so it should have the LSD in, which honestly, I'd really like to have a non-LSD, just so I could take one of those apart, because I did do a LSD tear down on one, and it's pretty cool how they're set up. It's gears splined together, and it's really cool how it works. All right, get these set up. I'm gonna get that tore off. All right, we got the cover popped. I could tell you it was probably never apart before. Some of the bolts were actually pretty tight, which is pretty good. The oil slinger's just bent a little bit on this side, because it did have a seal replaced. Normally they're bent really bad. A little bit here. This is just looks like pretty much normal stuff. It's just rubbing because it's not centered right. So it's not hurting nothing, but yeah, looks pretty good. So we'll get that pulled out. We'll get that set off to the side. You know, then I'm pretty much just down to doing the elbow work of the scrub to get everything looking good. So let's get this thing cleaned up. This became my favorite tool, and so did that. But this thing, man, the end cases pieces and this actual case had all kinds of goo over it. I mean, I did what I could. Wire brush this thing down. Just kind of got this rust reformer stuff, so it's just something. I'm just lightly coating it with this right now, within hopes that this works, as there is lots of little nooks and crannies here. You can kind of see there's a lot of dirt like right in here, but my gosh, like I ran out of energy. I mean, it's actually dark out right now, so and I'm getting ready to call it a day, but we're getting a light coat on here. I want to tape that off, but it's fine. Okay. Stuff seems to dry pretty good. Let's look at this here. Just a lot of unhappiness here pulling this thing apart. I do gotta paint the see if I can get this cover piece out. Right here. That still needs cleaned up pretty good. I mean, this thing looks pretty good on top. So let's even our weight out here. This thing had a little bit of a bend to it, so I'm probably gonna have to find one of these. All right, so anyway, that is that. Get this metal coated up pretty good here on the top. There's still some heat here in the garage. Actually, the heater's about empty here, so I'll probably just let it run the rest of the tank out. Pull these over that way so they can dry. And I'll show you what this thing looks like tomorrow. It's one of those things, I really wish I could get one of these coated. I don't know, like chromatic coated. Probably something like that. Look really good, that color. So I did have the orange car in here. Basically I just pushed it out. So the plan is to, I don't know, I'm waiting for stuff from somebody, but I might start getting that together. I got my gasket here and the bolt kit. New bolt kit from AGP. I think we're going to bolt all the black stuff off of there onto that motor, and basically pull the other motor out and just swap everything to this one and bolt the trans to it. It's a better trans. It should take more oomph, the fact with the straight cut gears. And, you know what I mean, get this thing together, start getting it tuned, get it tagged, get it tuned, get it insured, and drive this thing. We got a car show to go to. I believe it's going to be in July. Any transmission parts. I don't know what happened here. I think I picked up the wrong can. I still got to paint the speedo housing and a little snubber. So we'll get a coating on them. We got plenty of time for that. We're just working on getting everything reassembled now. I did, like I said, I looked over the gear set. Everything looked good. I didn't see any wear on any of the gears. I mean, whoever put it together, looks like they did a pretty decent job. So we have everything reinstalled. I always put a little bit of grease down inside on the ends where everything is. And the bearing and on the seal because I don't want anything starting dry. So we had that stuff here. That's why we got the grease, all right? Now that we have that done, whew, man, it's pretty. Hopefully this coating stays on a little longer than the other one did. It's still paint, so I don't expect it to be perfect. There was some bleed through. A little bit of paint went through. Just kind of used a little bit of brake clean and like scraped it a little bit with a razor blade just to get it off. Okay, we got this reinstalled in here. I'm going to get the correct sealant, and then we're going to put this case on. I do have to clean up the bolts. Probably just going to use the wire brush on the drill, and then I'll hold the bolt, and then I'll get them all nice and clean. Tops, bottoms, threads. Just make sure everything's decent. Some of these here look like they need cleaned. This one here is pretty yucky, so I probably should have cleaned that out before, but I'll hold a paper towel here and I'll zip it with some air and empty it out. So there's that part. To put the seal on the cover, there's not much to it. There was a fresh tube here. So this is basically what you need to use. Use this stuff sparingly. You don't need a lot. There was too much on here. That's too much. Don't get me wrong. I've done it myself. But I now know the correct way. So that's ready to go. This is all cleaned up here. Looks good. So that'll get sealed on once we get that on with our lock rings. And then we'll clean up the differential. Just look it over. Get it set down in there the right way. See if I have another one of these, or just give this a little bit of a tap here. Try to make it look a little nicer. It's not too bad. So that one's going to be pretty easy to fix up. And then get this thing together. All right. Cleanup time. Now, this is a time where you insert that little thing where it says, many hours later. Okay, so I basically, I didn't bother painting these two parts because it's assembled. It's good. It's where it needs to be. You know, there's a little bit here, but you don't see that. It's in the back side. We got our seals in on both sides. We're neutral. I'm gonna say it's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, wow. But there we go. I mean, sealed around here. Just everything is now together where it needs to be. Everything's nice and clean. Wish I would have got more paint right there, but I think, let's see here. I really don't think we're going to see down in there at that. Because this goes like this, right here. And then everything's going to be in the way, but man, it is what it is. This case was really dirty and had some weird goo on it, but everything's where it needs to be. This shift selector plate right here, after looking at it, I think it's pretty much all stock. The one that I installed on the trans that's in the orange car right now has both AGP extenders in it, so I'm actually just going to swap that one onto here, stick this one back on that trans, and that trans I'll do a test video before I pull it out, and you know, we'll have another good trans if somebody needs one. So there it is. That's together. There was one other thing that I had found. If you look across the top of this, see how both of those are not the same size. The one that's to the right of the side, right of the screen there, that one's shorter. So there's definitely some damage was done to that. Somebody cut it or ground it off or something. So, you know, if those things aren't there, they're supposed to direct the fluid down into the centers of the shafts. I'm sure it probably still works. It's just not the right length. So we replaced that. That's what we used to put our bolts in. So we knew we got them all right back in the same place. Just makes it a lot easier that way. The pink stuff that was on the end of this was from the ACT clutch, I assume, that it was installed with. I will be pressing in a new pivot ball. I just have new stock ones for now. Seeing everything else in here is what it is. I'm hoping to just use this trans. I'll drive around on it. You know, nothing crazy, no digs, no craziness, because of the power level that car should be making. But this is going to be a whole lot better to be driving around on. This might get retired into the blue car, hopefully in due time, but I'll work on collecting some more pieces, some more trans. I really want a Liberty gear set to stick into the orange car, so we'll just have to see how this plays out. Some people make it a long time on stock gear sets. Some people make it a long time on these at certain power levels. It just depends on how you drive. I mean, honestly, I never really beat mine that hard, but I'm sure people do. And with this thing making the kind of power that it should theoretically make with the amount of stuff that's involved with that build, it should be pretty easy to break stuff without even trying. So hopefully this helps at least get it through tuning and, you know, just driving it around. And maybe even, like, I really want to get this thing to some shows this coming year. And maybe on a dyno, just to kind of see what kind of numbers we can put down with it and go from there. I did see that Modern is now going to be offering the 4-bar sensors. So I might get them to be able to turn the boost up more. Because 3 bars, I believe, from what I'm reading, should be around like 28 or 29 PS, 27 to 29 PSI, 28 PSI is pretty much the reading limit on the 3-bar. So, you know, if we want to push that big turbo any further, you know, we're going to need some 4-bar sensors. But that's for another video and another story. Hopefully, I mean, this isn't really the best thing, but We did get a built trans for the orange car, and we will be installing it here really soon. Hopefully, we got a couple other jobs in between there, and we do have some, just trying to get everything tucked up here this winter. And with that, friends, stay warm.